Apple done did it again, man. They came out with another product and they're changing the industry. This time, the industry is not the phone industry. And I know you've already heard a bunch of videos about this, but I need to get into this because whether you like Apple or not, this thing not only moves the needle, but it's also going to be a good thing for you, even if you don't like Apple, even if you don't want anything to do with Apple. It's going to be a good thing for you. What could it be? I guess I'll have to tell you all about it right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So Apple Silicon is here, the M1 chip is here, and it's poised to change the complete game of any processor, not just mobile processors, which Apple's been doing for the last several years, but now desktop and laptop processors. And I know some of you are thinking, well, that's great. I don't have any interest in getting a MacBook or anything like that. Hang tight, my friend. This is going to be a really good thing for you, and I'll explain, but let me get into what the M1 chip is. Basically, the M1 chip is Apple's own processor. No longer will they be relying on Intel for any of their laptops or, I guess, desktops either, at least moving forward, and bringing power that is absolutely insane. Now, you might be thinking there's Intel and AMD. Why would Apple do something like this? Well, it's interesting because Apple has been working with Intel for quite a long time now, and they've been wanting more and more performance. And I guess Intel couldn't get the job done, so Apple just decided to do it themselves. What's really interesting about this is how much Apple was able to accomplish in the amount of time they were able to accomplish without being like leading industry experts in this field. You know, AMD and Intel have been making processors for a very long time. And while, yes, Apple has been helping make, using the ARM technology, mobile processors for a long time, it's kind of a big deal to go from that to laptop and desktop powered processors. Now, those of you may know that kind of the basis for this processor is very much similar to the A14 processor that just came out. And you might be wondering, how can that be powerful enough to be anything near a laptop or a desktop of today? Well, let me tell you something they did it yet, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I think AMD and Intel have been playing footsies all this time. They've been one-upping each other just a little bit here and there, a little bit here and there. And then Apple came in with their size 13 and said, you want to play some footsie? Cacao! I'm here to play footsies. This processor is so ridiculous in performance and power draw, as far as not drawing too much power, that they're actually beating established processors. Look, I'm so glad I didn't shoot this video until now because it was only a day or so ago when some Geekbench scores leaked. And let me tell you something, they're really impressive. Now, when Apple first announced this, they said a couple of things. They said it's a 5 nanometer processor, it's the first PC with that. It's gonna have 4 times faster video processing with an 8-core processor. 4 big and 4 small. That means 4 slower cores and 4 more performance cores. It's not 8 all at the same time, you know what I'm trying to say. And an 8-core GPU. 3 times faster than 98% of the laptops out there. Now, when they say stuff like this, you don't know exactly which laptops they're talking about. They're just saying, 98% of the laptops that are sold. Then Geekbench benchmarks leaked. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a benchmark by which you try to test different processors and see kind of how they rank against each other. And this thing did really well. Case in point, this thing actually ranked higher for the Mac Air. That is the laptop that's going to have no fan in it, so no cooling, which means it's going to be the slowest of all of the processors. It actually did better than an i7-9700 in multi-core, and at the single core is like the top of the chart. It's better than a Ryzen 9 5950X. What? And according to Apple, they can outperform most processors at only 10 watts. And they have more headroom than that to give the power to the processor. So basically they're saying that for less power draw, they can get more performance, or at least as much performance as your top laptops that are out there right now. Battery life is enormous now, 17 to 20 hours on some of the new MacBook Pros. Like, a laptop with like 17 to 20 hours is definitely a good laptop because if you're not plugged into the wall on your laptop, you're doing that travel life, battery life is everything, and these processors don't take nearly as much power. And the power they do take is really efficient, which makes this really kind of exciting. The MacBook Air is fanless, and let me explain what that means. Not only is there no sound because there's no fan blowing out air, that means they're able to keep the power consumption to a certain degree, much like an iPad, and harness the power of this processor to do all types of crazy things. They're saying even the Mac Mini is 3 times more powerful processor and 6 times more in graphic performance than last year's, which were based on Intel desktop level chips. Again, this is based off of a mobile processor. What the hell is going on? And if it wasn't for those Geekbench scores, I could totally understand why you'd be critical or maybe even questioning this. You'd be like, there's no way this is possible. How could they come out of nowhere and dominate on something like this? Apple is up to some stuff. And of course, with their new operating system that just came out, they're going to be optimized for this new processor. So they're now going to own, much like they do on the phones, manufacturing of the hardware of their device along with their software. And that's where you get that optimized feel, that really smooth feel on any iPhone that you get. And owning the entire process allows you to have a much better experience. The unfortunate reality for Android is they don't really. Samsung doesn't make the operating system. They just make a skin on top of Android. If they were able to do that, actually their phones might do even better. If they own the process, well, they make their own processors and they're not really good. There are a bunch of videos that kind of go over this. Maybe I'll leave a link to a couple below. You can check out my podcast partner, Greg from Greg's Gadgets, and of course, Renee Ritchie. They're gonna go over this in depth. I just wanna talk about the overall wowness of this. Number one, they're able to get all this processing power out of basically a mobile processor that normally fits in your phone. You kind of amped it up, gave it more amperage, gave it some more watts, gave it some more juice, and now you have a super powered processor that can edit 4K, play games, do everything you would ever need, and have a battery maybe twice as long or maybe 3 times as long as the laptop you might be using now. Now, if you're on Windows and you don't want to try Mac OS, this doesn't do you any good. So you might be excited for Apple or even maybe hate Horizon on Apple. Regardless, it doesn't do you any good. However, when things like this happen, it tends to be good for everybody. And the reason is this. Intel and AMD just got their shorts handed to them. Their lunch just got eaten. The bully came on the playground, punched them in the face, and ate their sandwich. You think they're going to stand for that? Nah. They might be slightly perplexed how they got caught with their pants down so much. I don't know how this could happen from a company that should not even been concentrating on making processors to come in and whoop everyone's tailpiece, but it happened. And if you think AMD and Intel are just going to sit by and not fight that back and try to come up with a better processor, you're nuts. So that's the good part for anyone who's not using a Mac laptop or a Mac desktop. Processors are going to get better. They have no choice. Intel and AMD are not going to be second and third in the processor race once these things start hitting shelves. There's no way in the world that Intel or AMD is going to let the newcomer come out and make them look silly. I don't know how long it's going to take them to kind of fix this situation, because right now they're looking a little silly, but it will happen. And that's kind of the same thing that was happening on mobile with the Qualcomm Snapdragon side of things, even though they still haven't been able to catch up to Apple. Maybe Intel and AMD won't be able to either. But that's for the comments. You guys can leave me comments below. Let me know, do you think AMD and Intel are actually going to be able to catch Apple on this? Are they actually literally going to be able to be completely have their lunch stolen by the new kid who just came into school? He looks kind of weird. He's got the glasses and his hiked up shorts. He punched them in the face and he took their lunch. That's crazy. It's Apple. Listen, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I don't know. I know that this is great for us as consumers. It means these companies are gonna have to work even harder, because there's just no way that if I came out and had my own YouTube channel and someone else came out as Travis MVP and he got more subscribers faster than me, we're having a fight. We're having a fight. We're going at it. I'm giving you better content. Some dude came out and said, "What up, play is better than me." We having a problems. This is kind of exciting, and it actually makes me want to check out some Apple products, as they are saying now you can take the MacBook Air, which is always been a lower end product, and really edit 4K video, which is really processor intensive without a fan. I mean, I can already do it on my iPad, which is nice, but I don't have a desktop operating system like Mac OS. And for anyone out there that doesn't know, should they buy a Mac later or now or whenever, or which one? Should you get the Intel one? Should you get the new M1? I'm just gonna tell you, get the M1. Really, that's it. This processor technology is so incredible and such a step forward for the very first processor that they've come out with. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is like their first try at this. They had PowerPC and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about post-Intel. Intel was supposed to ride them into the sunset. This is their thing, Apple Silicon. Man, they're serious. But what do you think? Leave me a comment below. Is this as big of a deal as I'm making it, or is it not really that big of a deal? Let's talk about it in the comments. I got some other videos for you too as well. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.